Welcome to Keto Life Support, where we make your keto life sustainable, fun, and low stress. I'm Kim Howerton, and I'll be coming to you weekly with some of my keto besties to bring you the practical, real-world keto advice that you need. Quick disclaimer, I am not a doctor, and even if we do have a doctor in the house from time to time, he or she is not your doctor, and nothing we say on this show should be taken as medical advice. Always check in with a trusted medical professional about your own personal medical concerns.
Hey, yeah, it's Kim Howerton, and this is Keto Life Support, and this is episode number 85. So today I want to talk to you about something because here in the States, we just wrapped up Thanksgiving last week. It's, as I'm recording this, it's about 10 days after Thanksgiving. So we're getting back to life sort of as we do. You know, some people had a great day. Some people decided to stay keto or within their metabolic parameters. Some people said, hey, it's just one day. I'm going to do what I want. And then other people sort of went unconscious, began eating, and are maybe just now saying, I may have made an error. So there's, all across the board. And this is true whether you're keto, whether you're not keto. And that's kind of where people are at right now. And as I record this, we're about 3 weeks away from Christmas here in the States. We just are about to wrap up Hanukkah. I made some lovely latkes, but anyway, I digress. And we have decisions to make about how we want to act. And, one of the patterns that I hear people falling into here is, well, when I was cooking for Thanksgiving, I ate some of the things that I shouldn't really eat because I was making them for other people. So I had one and then I had two. And then that night we went out to dinner and I had lots of things because, well, I already had the other things. And then the next day it was Thanksgiving and I just went to somebody's house for Thanksgiving and I ate these things and then, on and on and on. And like, I just feel, like I can't make this work. I can't do this. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And usually the response is, I'm just going to buckle down and restrict more. Maybe January 1st, my New Year's resolutions are going to be really strong and I'm going to really stick to it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut it down to 1,200 calories. Or XYZ, right? Fill in whatever highly restrictive approach that is going to work this time. And I have to say, how many years I wasted on it's going to work this time because insert very flimsy reason. What you need to do if you are this person that can't hold it, on track, before you jump into your next shiny new toy of a diet, you need to figure out what's going on. You need to peel the onion. You need to peel back the layers. And you need to say, okay, let me trace this incident back. And now, some of you might be like, Kim, it's just Thanksgiving. But I'm willing to bet if this was you, this is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern of behavior. And before you decide that the solution is to buckle down and to restrict XYZ way, do XYZ fast, it will fail unless you fix what's going on underneath. Now, not saying that you're a failure. I'm not saying that you can't make this work, but your problem is not the food. Your problem is your relationship to the food and your relationship with your strategies and how you eat. So, the first thing I'd say that went wrong, if I'm, dissecting, right, is I put XYZ in my mouth. That means floodgates are open. Okay, well, why do you think that? And how can we stop that from happening? Because one spoonful of mashed potatoes is not going to do anything to you unless you're allergic to potatoes. But, there's almost no negative repercussion there for, a teaspoon's worth of potatoes. But what that potatoes means to you and signals to you and starts for you, that is the critical thing. Clearly, if you are this person, you are not a moderator, you are an abstainer. Now, I'll go into abstainers versus moderators in greater depth at a future time, because I actually think you can, while you don't change yourself completely, I think you can change your habits here. But this person is maybe somebody who might say, I can't even have 1 teaspoonful. I can't even have a lick. I can't even have a taste, because I know that that taste is going to signal to me that I should keep going. Is it the taste that actually did it? No, but it's your relationship to the action. And sometimes if you can't stop the negative follow-up actions, it's better to just not take the first step, right? There's nothing dangerous about walking into a bar, most bars in good neighborhoods, right? Right. There's nothing dangerous about standing in a room where there's alcohol, but to an alcoholic, that's one step too far. The smell of alcohol is one thing they can't handle, right? One more thing. So you have to know where to draw that boundary. And so draw that boundary firmly if you need to. Then the next thing that needs to be addressed is, well, why do I think that if I do one thing, then I threw everything away, right? So it goes deeper, right? Why did I throw open the gates? Is it the depth of my addiction? Is it my feelings of self-worth? What's going on there? Get curious about that. And then, the Thanksgiving day going over to somebody's house and then feeling like you failed because you didn't eat well. Well, did you plan to eat well? Did you go into that day with a plan, or did you just go into that day just showing up for life and assuming that, whatever happened, happened? Well, that's not a failure. I mean, I don't want to overuse the word failure. That was a plan. You planned. If you didn't plan, you planned, right? If you, what do they say? This is a stupidly simple expression. A failure to plan is a plan to fail, right? So it's like, okay, so you went into this day. So did you actually fail in a way? I mean, you can use that term in a variety of ways. You planned not to be on plan. So you didn't fail because you weren't on plan. But you let yourself down in a way because you now are beating yourself up. If you're not beating yourself up, like, we don't have to have this conversation. You did what you did and you're not beating yourself. So you made choices and you followed through on those choices and okay, what do you want to do now? Right? But if you're beating yourself up, it's really important to look at these things that, okay, so you planned not to plan, and then you did the thing that you would do if you didn't plan. And then now you're beating yourself up. Well, it's exactly what you wanted to do. Doesn't make any sense. So don't beat yourself up. But evaluate. This is how we live our lives. This is how I lived my life. This was totally me, right? So if you want to be different, you have to be different. If you want it to be different, you have to make it different. If you want your future to be different, you have to act differently. So don't stay here if this is you. Decide how it's going to be different next time. And for the love of all that is holy, just don't decide that different looks like being mean to yourself. Don't decide different means being more extreme with yourself. If you're not handling small changes well, going really aggressive, though in some cases can work, is usually not the safest choice. So I would instead, in this little period, we got 3 weeks here or 2 weeks before Christmas rolls through. And if you do things around Christmas, think about how you want things to be different on a deeper level. And that means how your actions are going to be different. Don't start to fantasize about the 100 pounds you're going to lose next year, or the 30 pounds you're going to lose in January when you get really strict with yourself on your resolutions and do these things. Think about how you want your relationship with food to be different, how you want your personal freedom in terms of your emotions, your own sense of pride and self-worth. How do you want that to be different? How do you want to create a way of eating that keeps you in a safe zone in terms of your actions most of the time, and allows you to dial down the addictive tendencies you may have? I have very strong addictive tendencies, and a lot of my clients have very strong addictive tendencies. And the addict inside of you will whisper lies to you, and you have to know that they're not truths, which means you have to gain some strength to tell it to STFU, right? The analogy I often use is the family minivan. Your 2-year-old's in there, not if you have a 2-year-old, literally you as a 2-year-old, your addict's in there, your adult is in there, all of your parts are in there, and you have to make sure that the adult you is driving. Doesn't mean that, the addict won't want to play with the radio and the 2-year-old won't be crying and somebody's whining and all those things are going on. But you need to make sure whenever any decision is being made about food or anything, the adult is in the driver's seat. And if they are not, you need to take a breath, take a pause, lock yourself in the bathroom for a minute and think about it. Why is the adult not driving right now? And make that happen. Make that switch that chair up. So I just wanted to put this out there that if Thanksgiving or whatever, Tuesday, could just be a Tuesday, went really poorly and it started a downward spiral, take a moment to pause, reflect, and shift, not to a place where you're more extreme, but to a place where you are basing your changing actions upon an understanding of who you are, how you live, and how you want your life to go. All right, guys, this was a quick one, so I hope it was helpful, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Keto Life Support. Want more information? Want show notes? Want to suggest a topic? Just head over to ketolifesupport.com. That's where all that kind of thing can go on. By the way, I have a request. If you could go to your podcast host and hit subscribe, we would really, really appreciate it. And what would be even more awesome is if you could write a review. And what would be even more awesome than that is if you could write like a really flattering review. Just asking, you do you. All right. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm thrilled that you're part of the Keto fam. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.